I have brought my incredible collection of Sports Illustrated magazines to PSA to grade and to learn all about how their new magazine and comic grading service works. Hey everybody, I'm with Elizabeth Gruna, the General Manager for Pop Culture at PSA. And Elizabeth, I'm so excited to talk to you today because I have brought a huge selection of my Sports Illustrated collection. You've just started grading not only Sports Illustrateds, right? But what are you now grading here at PSA in this realm?
Yeah, I'm super excited you brought all this in. This is our newest category at PSA is comics and magazines.
Okay.
But here at the National, we expect to get a lot of magazine submissions since we're seeing a lot of people who collect sports collectibles, like sports cards, are excited, especially about Sports Illustrated magazines, which I see you've brought a ton of for me today. So I'm really excited to look at what you have.
Tons. I'm so excited to show you. Actually, you know what? Let's just jump in. Let's just jump in with Michael Jordan because you can never go wrong with Michael Jordan. So this is the first issue that Michael Jordan ever appeared on. This is when he was in college back at North Carolina.
Yeah.
I've actually got 2 copies of this. This is crazy. So one of them is just signed by Michael Jordan.
Amazing.
And then the other is signed by both Michael Jordan and Sam Perkins, who was his teammate. And obviously they were both on the cover of the magazine together here.
Yeah.
So these ones are currently encapsulated by another grading company, but just autograph authenticated.
Yeah.
I've also got some that have never been encapsulated. You guys are taking kind of all types of submissions at this point, not the autographs yet, we'll talk about that, but like in terms of if people have, ones that are graded by other companies or raw ones, are you taking all of that right now?
Yeah, so we're definitely taking crossovers. Like we're kind of the new ones into this space and it's been around for a long time. Like people have been collecting comics and magazines for decades now. So I'm excited we're finally entering into this space, but with that, we do expect a lot of crossovers since a lot of people have already graded them with competitors. So you can send them in, in a competitor slab and we'll take a look at them and cross them over to PSA. Or if they're raw too, we'll grade those.
Okay. And you're doing, so I've got a lot of Sports Illustrateds we're going to go through today.
Yeah.
You mentioned.
This is like one of the most iconic covers. So this is a great place to start.
Well, since we're going to talk about that, Elizabeth, you see you got me excited now. We've also got the first Bulls cover of Michael Jordan here too. So this is kind of his Bulls rookie, right?
Exactly.
The other one was his college rookie.
Yep.
He's also got one in between, which I also have, but I didn't bring it today, where he was on the US Olympics team back in 1984. So all of these I'm excited about getting PSA graded.
Yep.
There is a difference in these Sports Illustrated. So if you take like a Michael Jordan issue like this is what is called a Newsstand issue, right? Whereas some of these others, like, that's a crazy one. That is Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus both signed. But this one's got a mailing address label.
Yeah.
So
this one we'd call a subscription copy, and that's like a very important distinction in the collecting magazine space. So in general, we see that the newsstand copies are more rare and scarcer, and so a lot of people chase after those.
Right.
So in general, with Sports Illustrated, at its peak, it reached around 3 million people who were subscribers, and around less than 5% of those were newsstand copies. So they were actually on the newsstand. You'd get them at retail, had no sort of mailing address on it. So that's why people chase the newsstand. It's rarer, but also like just aesthetically, it looks really nice that you don't have a mailing label on it. But I think it's super important also the subscription side of it because that's much, broader out there, and like there's definitely a huge market for that too. So we want to support both. In general, like if you have a subscription label like this and it hasn't been removed, that won't get like, dinged on the grade because that's how it was, like it's how it came from the publisher. It's the authentic original condition that item was in. So I think that's a misconception sometimes is like, yes, this might look better aesthetically and, secondary prices might show that this has a bit of a premium, but there still is a huge market for subscription copies as well.
Okay.
In general, I'd recommend not removing the label just because that could decrease the grade if you went and removed it. And then
it's got like lines underneath.
Exactly, or there's residue left over and then people will try to restore it or, doctor it up and then that would get called out. So in general, I think for like the purist collector, it's best to like keep it in its original condition.
Okay.
But there definitely is that that big distinction between newsstand and subscription. That's important to look at if you're collecting these magazines.
And I have one somewhere here. I'm digging through all of these trying to find it. That is a situation where somebody removed the mailing label. Oh yeah, this one. This one, for example, right?
Yeah.
So this is a Ted Williams signed. This might have been I think this was his first time he was ever on Sports Illustrated. And you can see right here, so that's where the mailing label used to be, and now it's like a mark.
Yeah.
So that might actually hurt the grade a little bit. The fact that the mailing label was just on there, it almost would have been ignored, you're saying, by the graders.
Yes.
But the fact that it was taken off and now you've got kind of little discolored part of the magazine, that hurts it.
Yeah. So I mean, some people though still like they prefer just the aesthetic. Like if they're just collecting it for their personal collection or to display, and they like it better without the label, like they can still do that, but it will impact the grade.
That's interesting. Either way, so when you're grading these, are you putting a distinction on the grading label between whether it's subscription or newsstands?
We are. And that's like super important. And I know something that the collectors really want, because some people will remove it and try to kind of like get away with saying
subscription.
Exactly. Or they'll say it's newsstand, but it's actually subscription. And so our graders and our authenticators, you know, are experts in this, so they can really detect that. And so we will always call out if it's newsstand or subscription on the label, so it's really clear to customers, you know, what they're buying.
That's interesting. So even if you remove the label, it's still going to be a subscription issue if it had a label on it originally. That's a tough decision.
I know.
Because I do think aesthetically it looks better without the unless it's your own name and address.
I know.
Then maybe you keep it, right? But if it's somebody else's.
Exactly. Or I heard a story too of like someone who had a copy of like Peyton Manning's first appearance, and it was like addressed to Peyton Manning, like his home address. And so I think like in some ways it could be cool because it could be almost be like a pedigree if it was like sent to someone famous, you know, and it had their name on it. So maybe there's like a niche market for the subscription labels. And in general too, like the newsstand copies are just so scarce that like that Jordan cover, his first cover when he was in the North Carolina uniform, I think there's like 140 graded newsstand copies versus like his Fleer rookie card, which has like 40,000. So it's just a very different market, and like there's a lot more scarcity in newsstand. So I think subscription is like perfectly fine and well to submit as too. And I think like I encourage people to submit both.
I'm bullish on this market overall because, as you said, like a lot of these early signed Sports Illustrated magazines, they're so rare, and because they're bigger, you can display, like, I mean, the display of this, like the Miracle on Ice signed by all the guys on the cover of the Miracle on Ice. This one is wild. This one is crazy. That's the entire Lakers championship team.
Yes, and there's so much more surface area in the card, so you can have like up to 100 autographs on a single item, which is so different than what you see in cards. And I think the quality of the autographs is a lot better too. And it's a great autograph vehicle. And in general, like you were saying, the displayability is key. Like the photography is so beautiful. It captures this important moment in time. I think it's like an amazing display piece that someone would want to have on a wall or on a shelf. And that's why too we put so much into our holder, and making it UV reflective was really important, because we do expect people to be displaying these, and so we don't want to have color fading over time. Like you want to make sure it's really protected with that use case of being able to display it.
So your holders are UV protected. That's actually a great idea.
99%. That was like one of the first things I heard from customers. Like when we kind of 2 years ago started thinking about this business, and like it really started with a customer figuring out like, what are you missing? What would you want from us if we got into this? And like that was one of the number one things people wanted, was like, we need a better holder that is like, UV reflective. I can actually put it on display and show this off, but then also is tamper evident. Like the holders are like pretty much bulletproof if you can feel it. Like they're not going to shatter, they're not going to break. But if someone did try to open it up, like it would crack, it would show that it was tampered with. And so if you're looking for just like preservation and protection and like keeping your items safe and being able to display it, it's really the best option. So that was something we put a lot of investment into, is making our holders really premium.
Cool. Okay, that's really good to know. I'm excited to see them. You got them on display out here as well.
Yes,
so we're showing the audience what they look like. They're really, really nice looking holders. Okay, so most of my magazines that I brought are autographed. This is an example of like a non-autographed issue, but that has historical significance, right? I mean, you've got, John F. Kennedy Jr., the president at the time, on this issue.
It's amazing.
So right now you are grading non-autographed, and soon you're going to start doing the dual service. So right now you would grade but not give an auto grade for any of these. Is that right?
So right now we're not taking anything that has an autograph on it.
So the non-autograph is what you want.
So we're starting with just like standard submissions, no autographs. So we could take this item for you today and grade it, but then in a couple months from now we will have our dual service. So similar to cards where you can get the autograph authenticated, or you can get a numerical grade. That's something you can do alongside your comic or magazine grade.
Okay. So I got to hold on some of these before I can give them to you to grade.
Yes.
But I will be some of the
Coming
first.
soon.
Good. I will be some of the first to grade when we do. But there's a lot of these that I can grade because I've also got a lot of non-signed Sports Illustrateds as well.
Amazing.
And it's not just Sports Illustrateds, right? You've got, Slam Magazine, I know it's been really popular.
Yes, Slam Magazine's doing an amazing job. Like I would say for like the more modern magazine collector, like Slam Magazine's actually probably number one in terms of getting like the younger, super popular athletes on the covers first. Like Caitlin Clark's first appearance on a Slam magazine was the highest sale for a female athlete on a magazine.
Cool.
Recently in June, that went for like $5,000. So I feel like they got Caitlin Clark on a magazine cover before Sports Illustrated did. So I think in general, Slam is doing a really good job with like the collectability element. They have more variants, they have serialized magazine covers. They're really playing into the collector mentality. So they're actually doing a great job. So a lot of people are excited about that, alongside Sports Illustrated, which has a lot of these like super historical, amazing items like you have here in this collection. So yes, sports magazines are huge, but then also one of the biggest publishers we've seen is Time Magazine. So in terms of like historical moments, we're seeing that. So like one of our top submitted specs so far was the cover when Trump, the assassination attempt where his like ears bleeding, that like very iconic historical moment. That's one of our top submitted items. Also Taylor Swift's Person of the Year cover. So we have like a very broad range of more pop culture historical figures that are also really popular for submissions. And then of course our PSA magazine too. That's been another really popular one for people to submit so far.
Interesting. That's cool. What about like programs? Would you do programs to like a big event?
Yes. Yeah. So like, Super Bowl programs, World Series programs. Yes. Sports programs is a huge market and another thing that we are really excited about and we can accept as long as it fits in our dimension. So some of those programs are a little bit thicker. So if it's bigger than 0.3 inches wide, we cannot, just based on our holder dimensions. But yeah, if it fits into the dimensions, we can grade sports magazines and sports programs as well.
That's. I think there's some investment opportunity there. I like that. I see you've got one of your holders down there. Can you grab that?
Yes.
I want to see. Yeah. Okay. So this is what the holder is like. Oh, that's nice. That's got a nice feel to that. So talk to me. You talked about the UV resistant nature of the holder and the fact that obviously the security aspect of it as well. So it looks like you've got the grade obviously prominently displayed here.
Yep.
So is it going to have a description about the, like if it was a special episode, like this one says it was the first appearance of this particular X-Men character, right?
Yes. So similar with magazines, like if it was a first cover or, the first issue ever of Sports Illustrated or Playboy or Slam, whatever you collect, like any sort of, special callouts will be on the label.
Okay.
And then on the back too, we have a QR code. And so that links to the cert lookup page for that item where we have grader's notes available for every cert free of charge. So I think that's a really nice service we have for this category as well, where you can get more details about that item specifically. I think because once something's encapsulated, you can't obviously open it up anymore. So that's why the grader notes are so important in case, there was an insert that's missing or a poster is missing or a page. Like especially with Sports Illustrated, we see that not all of them are complete. Like a lot of young kids had Sports Illustrated, so they took out their favorite athlete and pinned it up on their wall. And so we see that not always are these magazines complete, so we need to call that out. That's important for the collecting aspect of it as well.
Okay. Is there a pop report? Are you keeping a pop report on these?
Yes, we will have a pop report. It's not up right at this moment, but that'll be coming in the next couple weeks, and then eventually that will get automated and be real time like what you see in cards, because obviously it's important to have the pop report so people understand, how scarce this item is.
Okay, so I'll be able to, when I submit some of these, like for example, you had talked actually about the first issue of Sports Illustrated.
Yes.
Speaking of the first issue of Sports Illustrated,
it's amazing.
we got two of them here.
Autograph too, wow.
So if I were to submit these, when you start taking the autograph versions of these, I will eventually be able to see how many of these have been submitted, what all the different grades are, and how this stacks up against other graded copies of this magazine.
Exactly.
Cool.
I think so far we've had like 15 of these.
Okay.
Non-graded.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
I would imagine that these are the probably going to be one of the most popular ones submitted. The first issue of Sports Illustrated. That seems like if you have that in your collection, you need to get that off to PSA to grade.
Yes, totally. Like anytime you have a first issue or like a first cover, that's a great candidate for grading, because those are going to be the most iconic issues and like the most collectible and the best resale value.
Okay. I'm learning a lot here. By the way, first Mickey Mantle cover too.
I know, that's amazing.
I'm excited
Your
about
collection's insane. I'm so excited to get all of these in PSA slabs.
I got to show this one to you, Elizabeth, because I know you're a Seattle girl. That's where you were originally from.
Yes.
Is Ken Griffey Jr. your boy? I think I've got an Alex Rodriguez.
I know you had an A-Rod in here.
Where was
too.
the A-Rod? We saw A-Rod a few minutes ago.
I'm on it. This was like when I was growing up in Seattle, going to Mariners games all the time. So I love this cover. I love these, old school jerseys. I'm a huge Mariners fan. They almost got, they're getting better again, but we'll see what happens. We have Julio Rodriguez
I found
now.
the A-Rod
yes,
one.
I love it.
So pick one. Pick one.
I mean, you have to go with Griffey.
Okay, all right. I mean, I think so too, but I didn't know. They're both pretty important baseball players in history.
Yes, so, I love it.
There's so many fun Sports Illustrated covers. This is a wacky one with Larry Bird.
Funny.
Isn't this nuts? Like that's just such a cool cover. And then I'll show one last one. So this is, I mean, people go crazy about these dual autograph football cards or all the sports cards, right? You got two players. Well, I mean, this is Marino and Montana.
It's insane.
Like a dual autograph on there. So if you have like multiple autographs on the same magazine, when you guys start doing the autograph grading, will you authenticate multiples?
Yes, we'll authenticate multiple autographs and then we'll grade up to 5.
Okay.
So this is a great option.
So this would be a great candidate one to submit if I want to get the autographs authenticated on that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And get the magazine graded. Okay. Now, something kind of interesting in the magazine world that's a lot different than the card world is I think people are more open to like cleaning, restoration, that type of thing, right? With the magazines, that doesn't like kill your grade or make it altered and all that kind of stuff like it does with cards, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I would say the big difference we see is like with pressing. So that's a service that PSA is actually offering. And so pressing is essentially like you're adding a little bit of moisture to the item. So through like heat and moisture, we can kind of smooth out any creases and bends in the book and really improve the visual appeal of it, and also gives a significant chance of getting a higher grade. So we really recommend our pressing service because, it's $12 for a modern item. And if that can bump your grade up a few points, like that could potentially, make that item thousands of dollars more valuable. And so it's really a great investment, I would say, if you're wanting to just make your book present as good as possible, get the highest grade as possible. Pressing is a great option. Our pressing team is best in class. They're so good. I've seen their results, like the before and afters. It's crazy. Like if you have bends and creases that don't break color in your magazine or your comic, like it's a great service. So I highly recommend it, but it is different because it's obviously a sensitive topic.
Well, with
cards.
card people, right?
No, and it's not really the cultural norm. But I think too, the paper quality is so thin. It's like a very different product, and so I think it takes really well to the pressing and that kind of stuff. Well, with cards, it might damage it or have more of a negative impact. So it's not something we recommend for cards, but for magazines and comics specifically, it's accepted by the industry. There's tons of pressing companies out there, and so it's something that we felt was really important for us to offer, just because that's what our customers are looking for, and it again is an industry accepted thing in that market. So yes, it is different though than cards.
Right. So this is part of, you can actually elect that during the submission process. Talk to me about the submission process. So for everybody watching now who is getting out their old Sports Illustrateds, or they're starting to buy some right now on eBay and they're interested in sending them off to PSA, is it like the card process? Do people go to PSA's website and just start a new submission there?
Yeah, that's the nice thing, is it's fully integrated in PSA's website. So if you're submitting cards or other items today, you can now do comics and magazines right alongside that. So If you go to our online submission center, now there's an option when you go to submit a comic or magazine. And then, yeah, when you go through, you select if it's modern, vintage, high value. And then once you're going to kind of your final shipping stage, that's when you can choose to add on the pressing, kind of as an add-on service for your order. So yes, it's all integrated into the website. It's all there. We have tons of resources to like collecting 101 guides, because a lot of people are brand new to this. They're like, they don't even know where to get started. We have shipping guides because it's, you know, different. You're not using a card saver. You have to use bags and boards to kind of make sure these safely get to us. We have a lot of resources on our website that I encourage people to look at who are maybe interested in getting started with these categories.
There you go. And hopefully a lot of people learned something from watching this video. Hopefully this has been helpful to people as well. Elizabeth, this has been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving us such an incredible overview of the magazine grading, the comic grading process. I'm excited to go through these now and get some of these to you and get this process going.
I'm so excited too. Thank you so much for bringing these to us. And these are all going to look amazing in a PSA holder. So I can't wait.
All right, guys, what do you think of magazine grading, comic grading? Are you buying into it the way that I am? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon with our next one. Take care.